right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we appreciate all those of you who've decided to join us here to listen to the Real Talk Sports updates as we do each and every weekend. We bring it to you from live here from just outside of downtown Atlanta, Georgia. And we appreciate all those of you who are listening on the legendary WIGO Pacesetter 1570 on your dial. Also, you can check us out if you are a WIGO listener on WIGO1570.com. And last but not least, you can find us on an app. That's right. The app is called Tune In. That's right. It's a free app. Download it, and then you can find WIGO anywhere at any time. Just go into the search engine, put in WIGO 1570, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. And remember, 24/7, they have great music and great inspirational talk on WIGO 1570. And of course, remember, you can follow us anywhere on social media, Real Talk Sports, that is, on Real Talk Sports, the number 7. That's right. Follow us anywhere on social media. It does not matter where you are following us from, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whether it be X. I hate that. It really should be Twitter. Anyway, any of those things that you want to follow us, we'd love to have you do that, especially on YouTube. Please subscribe, 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 hit the magic bell, and bing, you'll get all the notifications when we're on. Because besides doing the Real Talk Sports Show on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Every Tuesday, and the Saturday Sports Updates, which are done and simulcast here on WIGO, you also need to follow me because I'm always doing live reporting from events. Like last week, we're at NASCAR. And in case you missed it, it was one for the ages. Harken back to the old time NASCAR racing, four wide down the stretch. And the winner, Mr. Suarez, won it by just 7/100ths of a second. That's right. Daniel Suarez won for just a 7/100th of a second. Bubba Wallace, the only African American driver in NASCAR currently on the circuit. He had his best finish ever at Atlanta Motor Speedway, finishing number 5 overall. Actually, finishing the race the last 2 times I've watched the race when he's been in it, he's wrecked near the final lap. So thank God for him and all the people there. And of course, he is part of the 2311 team, which is jointly owned by Denny Hamlin, who continues to drive in NASCAR, and of course, the guy who most people think is the GOAT for basketball and really one of the greatest, one of the greatest athletes of all time, Michael Jordan. So they both own that team. It's the 2311 racing team. But all the kudos have to go to Daniel Suarez, the second Latin American driver to win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So great stuff that happened there. Like I said, again, you'll be able to check all that out if you follow us on YouTube. Because like I said, I'm liable to go live from anywhere. Just saying. Well, of course, in the Saturday Sports Update, I don't have long to stay with you. So one of the things that's been buzzing around all Atlanta is, of course, Atlanta Falcons. They are now talking the NFL. Why are they talking NFL? Because they are searching for a quarterback. And so my question today is, there's been big buzz now. Last night was breaking news that it's going around that Arthur Blank is insisting that the Falcons break the bank and bring in Kirk Cousin. Now, first of all, I'd like to ask you guys a question. Do you think that Arthur Blank, I mean, should really, I get it, the guy is the owner of the team. He is the man that brought us Michael Vick. He's the man that, like it or not, he brought us Matt Ryan, who played very well for 14 years here for the Falcons. And both of those men got the Falcons postseason play on numerous occasions. Matt, I think, a total of 6 times in his career, maybe even 7. And of course, Matt got us to the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of people had some angst against Matt. I was one of them. I felt that he did not take advantage of some opportunities that he might have had he been able just to scramble a little bit and a little bit more frequently, I should say, to avoid sacks and to keep the Falcons' drives alive, which would have caused them to win more games and possibly even got them a Super Bowl win. But nevertheless, here we are. Arthur Blank is allegedly looking for Kirk Cousins. They want to break the bank. But my question is this. Okay, I understand about Kirk Cousins. The guy has been one of the most accurate quarterbacks over the last decade, a guy that many people compared to Matt Ryan while he was playing. But my question is, why not bring in a guy that is a little bit more mobile, a guy that's not coming off an injury, and a guy that does have some postseason pedigree, i.e., a played in, I believe, at least 2, possibly 3 NFC championships game. Well, no, definitely 2, but I think possibly 3 NFC championship games, and went to 2 Super Bowls and won one. And in his head-to-head battles against some of the great quarterbacks of the era, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Tom Brady, he more than held his own, and was a guy that consistently, we forget, just a couple of years ago before he left Seattle, where he did all these great exploits, people were saying to the management team in Seattle, let Russ cook. Remember that was the slogan for a while? Well, how's it going in just 2 years from let Russ cook to we don't want him? Or I don't get it. So to me, that's the guy I'd like to see. If you're going to go the free agent route, I would like to see Russell Wilson as a guy that you can pick. A veteran guy. You can see by his haircut a little bit, I believe by his haircut, that he's back in that focus locked on mode. And there's no question that when Russell Wilson is fully engaged and he has the weapons around him, this guy was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a decade. Now, I understand we went to Denver. He had some issues there. Well, and what were the issues? Well, the primary issue is that the coach really didn't like him. And when your head coach doesn't like you and you are running the QB position, you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have a problem because the coach is not going to put you in position to win because he's trying to get you out of there. So I don't want to really spend too much time focusing on the Russell Wilson in Denver, especially that first year in Denver. I want to focus on the Russell Wilson that we saw in his last year in Seattle and what we saw over the time he was playing last year in Denver. Because again, let's look at the stats. The stats don't, I mean, the numbers don't lie. I mean, Russell Wilson last year did the following. He had 26 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions on a team that did not want him and was trying to get him to basically quit. You think about that. You think about playing under that kind of duress where you are trying to play in the NFL, which means not for long, one of the most competitive professional leagues in all of sports. And you got a situation where the team is not really trying to help you win. But yet he still was able to get, like I said, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So if you look at his totality of his career, let's take a peek at it here. He's played since 2012. And in all of those seasons, with the exception of the 2022 year that he had with the Broncos, he has thrown at least 20 touchdowns. Okay. And in all of those years that he has played, he's played 12 years in the league. Only one time has he thrown for more than 11 interceptions in a single season. And oh, by the way, that was a season in 2020 where he had a 105.1 QBR rating because he threw for 40 touchdown passes and 4,012 yards. That wasn't in 2017. That wasn't in 2016. That was in 2020. He followed that up in 2021 with a season of 25 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, a 103.1 passer rating. Yes, we all want to focus on the horrendous year he had in 2022 with the Broncos, and rightfully so. 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. His quarterback rating dropped to 84.4. But wait, there's more. Last year, in 2023, he looked like the Russ of old. 26 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, quarterback rating back up to 98. And oh, by the way, his overall completion percentage is one of the best that he's had in the NFL. 66.4% passing completion ratio. So this is why I don't understand why more people are not looking for Russell Wilson to be an option for the Falcons at QB. I don't get it. And here's the thing. Don't be surprised if it happens, because remember, everyone was saying Arthur Blank's all in on Bill Belichick. Remember that? We thought that Bill Belichick was going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. All the pundits were saying how much sense that Bill Belichick made, a guy that had won, basically the GOAT. And quote unquote, who better than the GOAT to come in to turn things around and set the Falcons on the right pattern? But that didn't happen, now did it? Yeah, it almost makes me wonder, is some of this stuff kind of like predisposed? I mean, the people kind of get together, look at, man, we're gonna have you kind of do this, we're gonna create a little smoke over here so we can't let people see what they're really doing. And speaking of smoke, how about the smoke that Justin Fields managers were popping up there on, I think it was on either Twitter or on Instagram, I think Instagram, where basically the manager is excited, and I think it was even Justin Fields excited, talking about he's going home back to Atlanta. Because that's the other guy that everyone is just thinking for sure the Falcons are going to get Justin Fields. Now, to me, that would be a good second choice, to me personally. All right, let's go on here and check with social media. Son Jaron is saying, do you think the Falcons will get Justin Fields? Well, that's right on time, brother. Yeah, so to me, behind Russell Wilson, that would be probably my second pick, would be a Justin Fields, because I think this guy has nothing but upside. Now, the problem with a Justin Field is that he's a real one. What I mean by that, he's a local guy here from Metro Atlanta, um, and he's a guy that is not the typical corporate style quarterback that Atlanta has went for since the unfortunate situation with Michael Vick. As a matter of fact, overall, Falcons are looking for, you hear Raheem Morris talk about this, they're looking for guys that kind of fit in the program, guys that are, kind of to some degree uh, speak softly but carry a big stick. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the preacher, I'm not looking for somebody to come in here and be, a malcontent or miscreant. I don't think Justin Fields is either one of those. I think he's a young man who's been very frustrated, going all the way back to the University of Georgia, of people not really giving him his opportunity to shine, considering his prodigious, that's the word for the day, prodigious skill sets at both, not only just running, which everybody's saying he's a runner, but in throwing the ball. This is a man that can throw a deep ball with the best of them. I'm saying probably every bit of 60 to 70 yards in the air. As we saw at Ohio State, when Ohio State turned over the reins to Mr. Justin Fields, he was electrifying as the Buckeyes went to the college football playoffs and had a game showing against the Clemson Tigers, who really buffeted him quite around that game. And he showed great heart, great grit by playing that game, even after he had been really injured severely. And now I'm going to say something else before we go and take a break. How about this for a wild situation for the upcoming NFL draft? How about if the Falcons draft Justin Fields, okay, and do this, trade up and draft Marvin Harrison Jr.? Now, how about that for a wild scenario where all of a sudden you have two Ohio State Buckeyes on the team? I'm sure there'll be some synergy. And now you would have a quarterback that could certainly get the ball to any of his receivers. And you would have a guy bringing in who I think would be different, but kind of the second incarnation of Julio Jones. Now, before everybody flips out and says, Minister, why do you want more offensive weapons? You already have Drake London. You already have Kyle Pitts. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine a decade or so ago. The Atlanta Falcons already had an all-pro receiver, a Pro Bowl receiver in Roddy White. They, I believe, had just added a Pro Bowl tight end and Tony Gonzalez. But yet they moved up in the draft to get people, the guy that many people were saying was going to be a generational talent. Some guy who wore number 2 in Alabama, I believe, but then down to number 11 here in Atlanta, Julio Jones. I'm just saying. Everybody's saying Marvin Harrison is that dude. He's that guy that could be the next quote unquote first ballot gold jacket winner. So why not open up and do what Atlanta does best? Give you the most high powered offense of all time. Didn't you guys enjoy the Falcons version of Greatest Show on Turf when they went to Super Bowl that year? I don't know about you. I wouldn't mind paying to see that. All right, speaking of paying to see, um, yep, there it is. Paying to see. We'll go before we go to the break. I want to give a big shout out to Sean Jarrett, who says, I think Fields will be a good fit, plus the running back and the wide receiver core and the tight end. You're exactly right. And then sprinkle on Marvin Harrison. The possibilities are endless. Well, speaking of possibilities are endless, you have endless possibilities to get yourself into a new vehicle. Oh, I gave it away. Our next sponsor is coming up right now, but keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show that will be coming up right after the break.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm Aria, the first AI presenter for Real Talk Sports. We want to get your feedback about my participations in the show, so please leave comments. So stay tuned, the Real Talk Sports Show is coming up.
We're back here. You're listening again to the Real Talk Sports Show, Saturday Sports Update, as we get it wrapped up here, broadcasting to you live. Well, maybe not live. A lot of you guys watch this on the replay. We appreciate you on that. But for those of you who are listening live, appreciate those of you who are tuned in. First of all, on the radio, on WIGO Face 1570 is now called, and has been for about a year now, the legendary WIGO Pace to the 1570. And that's because of WIGO's long history in bringing great radio, both music and talk, to the Atlanta area and literally around the world. So we appreciate my lovely lady behind the glass, Lady E, who is holding it down, making sure that our broadcast comes from the live stream over the airwaves to all the listeners of WIGO. We appreciate her so much. All right, let's do this. We'll wrap it up with, again, for those of you who are just tuning in, I made a wild scenario. Falcons trading for Justin Fields, and then, but wait, trading up, almost mortgaging the house, to jump up to the number 3 or 4 spot to draft Marvin Harrison, thus giving the Falcons, I would say, probably the most potent, potentially the most potent offense in the NFL, and could be, if done right, the most potent NFL offense in history. Just think about it. Think of the possibilities. Justin Fields calling the shots behind there, both being able to run and throw the ball a mile. Then you have a offense that runs around the following. Marvin Harrison, would probably usurp at some point Drake London as your one, a guy that can take the top off at any time. The guy can make any catch, run any route. Drake London, a now healthy Kyle Pitts, a Bijan Robinson who will be properly used. And but wait, Tyler Algier is lurking in the shadows. And then Justin Fields being able to give you that ability to both run or pass the ball from anywhere on the field. It makes you feel some kind of way, doesn't it? But anyway, if that doesn't happen, like I said, I would take a Russell Wilson. I think that'd be a great pick. and then you could go ahead and set him up with the team you currently have, and then at the number 8 spot, stay at number 8, or maybe draft down and pick yourself up another edge rusher. I think it's critical that the Falcons get some more pressure on the ball. They have, I think, a pretty good defensive backfield led by the man, all pro Jesse Bates. I think that you'll now have a healthy Grady Jarrett coming back. And I think if they could just add another edge rusher in there, Falcons might be must-see TV. Let's go to social media real quick and see. Sean Jarrett says, hey, think, make a move, get O.J. Howard. Well, I don't know if O.J. Howard is necessarily a fit. Yeah, they did get rid of Jonnu Smith, a guy who I couldn't understand why they got rid of him. I mean, the guy who played extremely well last year. I know you're saying, oh, you make some cap room, but they better make some big time room. But I tell you why they did that, because Parker Hesse also played very well at the tight end spot. So what they're thinking is we can get some of the similar production, um, maybe not as much in the receiving end, but definitely in the blocking end, because Parker Hesse was a great blocker, and Hesse gives you the versatility to back up Smith. If you want to run that fullback situation, the Falcons are one of the few teams that have a fullback. So maybe that's what they're thinking there. We don't know. All I do know is the Falcons got a lot of money and they have draft picks. And next year we better see a playoff team. All right. The other thing I'm going to say before I get off the air here is I'm going to ask the question: is Cam Newton underappreciated or undervalued? Here's why I say that. For those of you who know, there was a huge fiasco last week where Cam Newton was involved in a mini brawl at one of his 7-on-7 camps. And for those of you not seen it, you can look on, YouTube or any place and just put in the search engine Cam Newton 7-on-7 brawl or 7-on-7 fight, and you will see the replay of Cam Newton basically slinging guys around and taking care of business as he basically was jumped. He was jumped. Three guys. He had coaches and players involved in this, and basically had to fight him off, and did a fine job too. And matter of fact, harken me back. Now, again, I'm a little bit older than a lot of you guys are listening, but it used to be like a cartoon, or even like, I guess, a comic book series called Dick Tracy. It was on TV for a while, both in cartoon and in actor form and in the movies. Well, Dick Tracy, one of the things he was known for, as he was a detective, he'd get into fights. And in the fights, I mean, guys would be throwing, they would be throwing hands. But Dick Tracy's hat never came off. Well, Cam Newton, the same thing. He had a hat that a lot of people are mocking him, saying looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. But the bottom line is that he had a hat that, ladies and gentlemen, that hat did not move. It did not move at all. With him throwing hands, slinging guys around, it was really kind of funny watching these guys. You made them look like little kids. They had no shot to do anything with Cam at all. But back to the realities are, to me, it really was a shame and a tragedy. I don't say tragedy, Lord forgive me, that's overblown. It just was a shame to see that situation happen. Now, Cam took a day to kind of take a woosah moment, decompress, but he said Friday on his podcast that he was disappointed in himself. I'm quoting, I'm disappointed in myself for letting it escalate to what it did. And that's what I'm apologetic for. The truth of the matter is this: me, speaking of himself, being in my position, I should never put myself in that position. That's such a truth. That could have got ugly for real. And keep in mind, why I'm saying I think to some degree Cam has been undervalued. A couple of players in the league, including his longtime teammate Julius Pepper, said this. He reminded people this is a guy that is a former NFL MVP. He is a 4 or 5-time NFL Pro Bowler. He is a guy that as we all know here in Atlanta, has been chronicled that for the last decade or so, he has devoted time, money, and energy to helping promote youth sports. And what he said was on the podcast, and he said before, hey, man, for me, this is kind of, I'm paraphrasing. Basically, what I got from his remarks was that this is a labor of love. This is something that he wants to give back to the community. And as he said, I want kids to see me and think to themselves, hey, I could do this. Cam came right here from Westlake High School, just outside of Atlanta, and he made himself into basically a Superman on the field, a guy that was a one-man wrecking crew from the quarterback position, which is hard because you're basically the general of the offense. You're running the show. You have to distribute the ball to all the other players in the offense. You have to make the calls for the blocking, the schemes, the patterns. And yet, in that 2015 season, he basically took the team on his back and got them to the Super Bowl. Now, people critiqued his playing the Super Bowl, as did I. Warren Sapp pointed out the non-attempt to recover a fumble. But I'm wondering, when I saw that, when I saw Cam's reaction in the post game, hoodie on, despondent, uh, defiant, and basically left the interview, which was basically unheard of. When I saw those things and saw the play of the Panthers, especially once they kind of made the game close, in my mind I was thinking, is this game fixed? Is Cam disgusted because he knows, hey, if we were allowed to play our full game, we could have beaten Peyton Manning? To me, the whole game seemed like it was a setup for Peyton not to go out a loser. Because remember, the year before they played Denver, got the break speed off, and they lost, I think it was like 43 to 8. And Peyton looked like he played a year too long. Even though he had a great comeback year after that, I think the Carolina Panthers would have beat them. And see, here's what I think would have happened. I think that this would have created a narrative that the NFL, and to some degree, sports in general, does not want. They do not want the idea of a mobile quarterback. And I'm going to say it like this. It's just what it seems like to me, a big black man being the dominant figure and being the face of this multi-billion-dollar league. I felt that from that Super Bowl on, that Cam Newton was basically mistreated by the officials of the NFL. This man took just a stunning amount of hits. And even he asked, if that was Tom Brady, some of the hits that he had taken, guys would have probably been thrown out of the league. But yet it was allowed to get him battered till he finally got injured, which diminished his physical ability and eventually, unfortunately, has caused him to get out of the league, I think, too soon. Now, don't get me wrong. Cam is a little eccentric, wild clothing, kind of weird stuff that he does. I get that. But on the field, this guy was must-see TV, and he was basically unlike anything we'd ever seen. 6'5", 250 pounds, rocket arm, and ran about a 4.4 40 playing quarterback. We had not seen that before. And I think that the league saw what Ben Roethlisberger saw. When he first saw Cam in the Pro Bowl, they both were young guys too. He said, hey, he pointed over at Cam. See that guy over there? That guy is where the league is going. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically looked at Cam and said, this is where the league's going to go. So I'm saying, for those of you, and again, his eccentric behavior from time to time notwithstanding, here's a guy that I think we should learn how to appreciate. A guy that, again, a little bombastic, a little loose with his language, sometimes a little, hood in his approach to things, but the realities are the guy himself has conducted himself as far as giving back to the youth and giving up his body to the NFL while he played. You can't fault the guy for that. And I think that he should be appreciated more, and also be appreciated that he didn't destroy those guys that ran upon him. And last but not least, I want to say this. Parents, we got to do better. Men, we got to do better. We cannot allow ourselves to be like cannibals eating our own. All right, guys, we got to go. For those of you listening on WIGO 1570, appreciate you for locking in. Appreciate our good friend, Lady E. Remember, the minister got to tell you, all that stuff notwithstanding going on in this world, if you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, you must, ma'am, you must, sir, get to know him today. He died for your sins. He rose from the dead. And if you repent of your sins and believe in him, you get to live a life well lived here upon the earth. And when you die, to go to that wonderful place called heaven and not hell. I don't know about you, but like option number one instead of option number two. All right, everybody at WIGO, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day. For those of you who are watching us here on social media, again, I always go back to this, ending my show the same way. It is really important that we get to know the Lord Jesus Christ. You see things, guys, are terrible that's going on in this world. So many things are happening, and there's only one person that you really can truly rely on to, again, have you have a life well lived and have you have a life with meaning and purpose. And then, like I said, when you leave here, you get to go to heaven and not hell. And just that's the plan. I know people think there's hell on earth. Believe me, The idea of spending eternity with the devil, all the demons, all the evil people from centuries beyond. I don't know about you, but that has no appeal to me at all. Wouldn't you rather be in a place where you can actually see God face to face, ask him all them questions you have in your mind, see Jesus Christ, see all the people of love, and that's forever. You never get sick, you never get old, you never die. Sunshine and happy times forever. I don't know about you guys, but I like option number one instead of option number two. Listen, again, we appreciate all those of you who tune in to listen to this broadcast, especially those on the replay. Appreciate you. Remember, follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. If you want to contact us, Jay Simmons at realtalksports.net, or just simply hit me up with a text 678-410-9833. All right, everybody, until the next time we get back together again, now we do it. God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long and take care.